Welcome to this new broadcast where I'm going to spend some time talking about abstinence. I thought this would be a good follow-up to the series that I just recently concluded on developing a battle plan for moral purity. Now, everything on our YouTube channel has been written by me. I'm not boasting, but you have the advantage of probably 40, 45 years of ministry and of writing and developing curriculum. And I thought after we did the series on developing a battle plan for moral purity, it would be good to follow up with a study on the case for abstinence. And so this is what we're going to do for the next couple of broadcasts together. The case for abstinence. So let's begin with an introduction to the topic. And this will be a brief broadcast. We'll get into it more in the days ahead. Now, when I say the word abstinence, what comes to mind? What is conjured up in your mind when that word is used? For example, one image that comes to my mind would be a woman wearing an ankle-length black dress with a high button neck collar, no jewelry, no makeup, and her head adorned with some type of covering. And I see her daughter dressed like her mother. I see a man wearing a starched white shirt buttoned to the neck, a neatly trimmed long beard, round brim hat, dark pants, and an overcoat, if the weather demanded it. I see a son looking like his father. Now, this scene was reinforced by our 25th wedding anniversary, in which we took a trip to an Amish community in Wisconsin when we lived in Illinois. We observed horse-drawn wagons or coaches clipping along the busy two-lane highway, those same carriages parked behind the local mercantile, homes with no electricity, and religious home meetings only for those within the community. No outsiders were permitted to come, and we couldn't even attend if we wanted to. That's the image that comes to my mind. And what about you? And inside, perhaps we snicker at such a primitive lifestyle. To us, it is technologically deficient. But to those who have committed themselves to this way of life, based on their convictions, they view technology as the devil's tool. They have withdrawn to avoid exposure to and influenced by those things deemed as destructive. You may say that this is an extreme example of abstinence. How about someone who says no to your offer of a second piece of caramel silk supreme pie? Or one who abstains from purchasing more than they know they can afford? And the examples can be endless, can't they? In some senses, beloved, whether we recognize it or not, most human beings abstain from something on a regular basis. But what I fear the most is that abstinence is only momentarily, without forethought as to why. Abstinence is driven by motivation. So what's the motivation to forego that second piece of caramel silk supreme pie? Is it diet, fear of man, perhaps getting sick, or for appearance sake? Now, isn't it possible if these motivations can be addressed, we could find room for that second piece of caramel silk supreme pie, or at least get it to go? As a biblical counselor, I want to re-examine the word abstinence. It is a word that is rarely used. When was the last time you heard the word abstinence? It possesses an archaic ring, doesn't it? It's second cousin to abstain, which is equally shunned from our daily speech, let alone using it in a sentence or even spelling it. Seems like these words have been kicked to the curb and replaced with an ideology of tolerance and acceptance, a new spiritual liberty that embraces anything and everything without guidance or boundaries. Since we have removed these words from our vocabulary, close behind are the words purity and holiness. Abstinence and abstain flow from inner convictions of personal purity and holiness. Abstinence is a difficult word to conceptualize. We will have to work hard at seeing how it got lost and rejected over time, and why we need to discover its power for holy living. I will attempt to deliver a biblical paradigm that can be applied to any area of Christian living. When we think of abstinence, we usually associate it with alcohol, sex, or drugs. The Just Say No campaign comes to mind, but it is not my attempt to become so narrow in the application of abstinence, but provide a wider scope of this concept for our study. Next time we get together, we will define abstinence. What does that mean? And we will talk about its application and understanding to daily life in conjunction with the battle plan for moral purity. I hope that you'll follow this study. I hope you'll follow this study. God bless.